a video that I think I've deleted. So, I think I've deleted the first part of this video, I would say. So, I need to make a Eaton Mess. I needed to have faff around with it beforehand. I was concerned that the meringue would melt kind of quite quickly into the cream, so I couldn't prepare it too long in advance, which is problematic. So if you're cooking for a lot of people, you need things to be able not to be doing things last minute. So I had to have a play around with the Eaton Mess and found out that I have to fold in the meringue last minute, otherwise it just melts into the cream and the raspberries. So you kind of think your way around things. I kind of think, oh no, I suppose I'm capable of doing it for function. I just have to think my way around it. But then afterwards, I was kind of thinking about the Eaton Mess, because it's basically just cream, sugar, raspberries, and meringue. And I was kind of thinking, well, that's all very well, but can we just enrich it slightly and make it a little bit better? So what I did do is I bought some mascarpone and to kind of maybe enrich that cream a little bit. So this is the one with mascarpone, which has enriched it. And then what I did do is I also then did a version where I folded in some whisked egg whites and yolks into it. So which is my in essence the base for if I'm going to make a semifreddo or a tiramisu. So what's the recipe for the sake of the camera? Sorry. 300 milliliters of double cream, 250 grams worth of mascarpone, and then 4 egg yolks and 4 egg whites. So that's the ratios that I use for the base of those two dishes. So I kind of thought, well, we'll do one with mascarpone, and then we'll do one with just the. That looks like it's discoloured slightly. That looks like it's discoloured slightly. Don't know if. Yeah, it looks like it's slightly discoloured. I wonder if that's from the bottom of the plate that was on top of it, but it just looks slightly discoloured there. I'll give it a taste. It's nice as that. It's nice as that. I don't have to do it on the day though. That'd actually work, wouldn't it? So obviously the eggs make it cheaper and kind of make it go further and taste creamier. And then this is the one with mascarpone. So this is firmer, which it probably wants to be a little bit looser. So how does this taste? A bit too thick. A bit too thick. Let's get a bowl. Let's get that bowl. Let's just see if we can do equal quantities of each of these and kind of soften it down a little bit. So about that, not all that. So essentially using less eggs in it. And then fold meringue through it. Yeah, I think that'll work actually. I think so. If I want to, how's it taste now? That's good, it's that. That's good. So, that's really good, is that? So, if I'm going to make a Eaton Mess, I use my semifreddo recipe stroke tiramisu recipe, but half the amount of eggs that I put in it, and then we get that richness, but a softness to it as well, because that's a little bit too hard. That's like when you whip cream a little bit too much before it turns into butter. So I think I can do a calculation and see how much things can cost. Yeah, that's too soft. That'll be a good consistency once we've folded in some meringue. what we will do, let's just make up a bit more. The only danger is of how we're going to serve it. I say we, I mean me. So let's go in a bowl. I'll just use that plate. So once we've folded in some meringue, let's pretend I folded in some meringue, then we can. I haven't got enough glasses, so what we could do is a rough quenelle on the plate, and then some raspberries on top with a bit of sauce. I think. Yeah. Although there's no, well, it's a mess, isn't it? There's no pretty way to serve it, unless you're going to do like proper quenelles, but no one wants that. It's Eaton Mess. Clues in the title. But anyway, so a bit of a quick faff around for a video, half the start of the video, which I lost, which I think I deleted for whatever reason last night. But anyway, so that works. Success. So just a bit of an add-on at the end of the video. Do we actually need to use the mascarpone at all? Can we just whip up some egg yolks and some egg whites and add it to the cream and kind of see what happens? So, because the cream was a little bit too over thick when it had the mascarpone in. So, can we loosen it without adding the mascarpone? So, that's 2 egg yolks. Is that going to be a bit too much? Let's put 1 in. So let's put half that amount in-ish and kind of see what happens. So, 2 egg yolks, 25 grams worth of sugar. So we'll mix that in. We can always add more, can't we? So well, it's 300 millilitres of cream, same as before, and then half those egg whites. And then fold that through and see what happens. So 25 grams worth of sugar in 2 egg whites. There will be a name for this. There's lots of different types of creams, and there will be one that you fold in some whisked egg whites. There will be one. I can't remember the name. There's lots of creme of this and creme of that and creme of the other. Actually, you know, we might get away with not putting mascarpone in. So, see what that tastes like. That's pretty good, is that? It's remarkable what a bit of sugar and the richness of the egg yolks will do to a little bit of cream. But that's much nicer. I think that would be. I don't think we need to put in the. No, we don't need to put in the mascarpone. We can just get away with get away. That sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. That seems like I'm ripping off my customers. That sounds like I'm ripping off customers. No, it's a. What it is it's a, that's nicer than just cream. That's nicer than just cream, and certainly in this kind of day and age, if we can get more flavour for a little bit more money, then something gets vastly improved. But that's much nicer, is that, and that's holding its shape pretty well. So, and it certainly would get a few raspberries through that as well. I'm going to waste that anyway, so we might as well fold everything in. I think 1 egg per every 300 millilitres would probably be about the right ratio. It will be about the right ratio, and it's kind of doubled its volume, hasn't it? It's about doubled its volume, so we can do a calculation of how much stuff to add because of that. Yeah, see, that's becoming too loose as that already by just adding that whipped egg yolk. Well, let's just add that in as well. It's it's a bit wasteful, this, because I'm not going to use it for anything, but I might just freeze it actually. We'll see what happens if we freeze it. Because because obviously the mascarpone ups the fat content of something, and ice creams are better if they are quite high in fat and sugar, and then you get a much smoother, richer ice cream. And so therefore the same with a Semifreddo. How does that taste? No, that's just starting to get to the eggy taste of egg whites and what we call it, egg yolks. Sorry, I was just thinking on my feet. I was thinking about something actually. Let me just pause. Right, I want to have a go at something. So I'm going to freeze that anyway. And then I was having, years and years ago, I saw a program on TV and they used digestive biscuits soaked in orange juice, and then they layered that with the whipped cream that you get in a can, and then they froze it to make like a frozen dessert. And I was kind of like, at the time I thought, what a load of rubbish, but it stuck in my mind, and I kind of thought we probably could do something with that. So coffee, ginger nut biscuits. I'm going to use ginger nut biscuits because they're more interesting than digestives. There's nothing wrong with a digestive biscuit, but I just think a ginger nut's just a little bit more interesting. So no, let's get those out of there. Let's do a layer of cream in the bottom first. Let's do a layer of this cream in the bottom. I do some of my menus. I do really kind of quite cheaply, a little bit too cheaply. But what I kind of say to my customers is, if you want a cheap menu, you don't get to choose the menu. I'll give you something nice, but if you want it, a cheap menu, I'll do your cheap menu. But you can't come to me and say, oh, we want roast beef and we want this and we want that and the other. I'm like, it'll always be something delicious. You'll get 3 courses, you'll get some delicious food, but you don't get to tell me what you want, because it's like a budget type of thing. So if I can make something like a new type of dessert, I should have done something in the bottom, like a tiramisu, but not to worry. So if I can do something that's like a different take on something, that's alright, we can do it that way, can't we? We can pretend, we'll turn it out, when we turn it out, that the biscuits will be on the bottom, won't they? That's what we can do. So we can do this 2 ways. We can do a Semifreddo frozen one, and then we can do one in this other container, just unfrozen, because we've got enough to do both. So this video has turned into something else as always, which is mostly me just faffing around the kitchen, my videos, and whittering to the camera about nonsensical things that only really I kind of understand or would use. So down there like that, so that can go in the freezer. Let's use a plastic container. I'm trying to get away from using plastic, but it's not always possible, is it? Right, so I don't know. Yeah, I can put this one in the freezer. I'm whittling to myself, so do it different ways. Yeah, so if we can make something delicious relatively cheaply, I think we're onto a winner. There's always, you know, yeah. So me and my friend were talking, and we were talking about, we follow someone on Instagram, and they're struggling at the moment. There's this company, and people just aren't buying from them. So we're kind of quite interested why people aren't buying, and I think it's right across the board that people haven't got any spare money, you know, or they have to do without little perks and little luxuries in life. They're doing without them. So bakeries are kind of suffering. That's a bit too soft. It's going to have to be in and out. So if we can make something cheaper, meaning that we can keep something at the price that it's always been at, and it's still been delicious, then we're on to a winner, aren't we? And from anybody from the point of view who's watching this video, if you can, this is kind of like a bit of a basic technique, but you can take these basic techniques and you can have a play around with something that's not that expensive, a few biscuits, a bit of cream and a few eggs. You can have a play around, can't you? And see if you like it for not much money. And I think that's why I was kind of striving for in hobbies. Then if we can do something like it, if we're gonna have a go at making wine, let's have a go at making it cheap first. So and if you're going to get into it, and if it doesn't work out and you make a bit of a mistake, it doesn't matter because you haven't spent that much money on it. You know, do things on the cheap before you invest in lots of expensive equipment. I think lots of people throw themselves into hobbies and think they have to make themselves spend lots of money, but with cooking, using cheaper ingredients and having a faff around and honing technique on the cheap before you have a go, I think it's a good idea. So, how does that taste with soaked ginger and biscuit? I think it'd be nice. Very good. So we'll freeze one, I'll put one in the fridge and we'll see how they turn out. Right, let's have a look at these. This is the one that's been in the fridge. Probably soaked the biscuits a little bit too much, but we'll see. So you can see there's a bit of biscuit there. So that's what we want. Oh, that feels kind of quite firm, does that? That feels okay. Feels like a good texture. You know, that's pretty good. You know, that's fake tiramisu, isn't it? That's yeah. It tastes like a cheap tiramisu. It's nice as that. It's nice as that. I'll be able to do something with that for work. I'm not sure. Yeah, it'll certainly go on the menus of what do I charge? Is it 14? Yeah, 14 quid for 3 courses. And I'm always looking for something relatively inexpensive that we can put on that still delivers good value for money. So it's normally a soup and then a main course, and then a pudding, and then cheese and biscuits and coffee. I'm looking for a knife. So we could certainly put that on as a dessert and people will be very happy. I think even crushing up some biscuits and mixing with cocoa powder and sprinkling on last minute as for a topping, I think that would be really quite nice because then you get the crunch of the topping. So that's okay. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. That's not frozen too hard. So like a semifreddo, and non pull it out of the freezer half an hour or so, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, depending on what time of year, to kind of just soften it slightly. So the same would probably work with this. I think it nice, but it works better in that form. It's just not, when you freeze things or you eat frozen things, the flavour slightly changes. So I think it's missing a higher amount of fat. That you get from the that you get from mascarpone, or mascarpone, however you want to pronounce it. But I think we could do something with that and make another one. I don't think the biscuits just quite work. I think we could do something else. I think we could use that, the cream and the whisked eggs, as a basis for a semifreddo, and put something else in. But it works, and it makes a cheap pudding. So, just a bit of a faff around at the end of a video, and a video that I lost the first part of it anyway, but it's taken us somewhere interesting. So, from that point of view, a success.